Hello everyone, my name is Phương Linh and I'm from English 14. Um, so now I'm gonna talk to you about a case study in our MIS course. This is a very interesting story about WIM industries from MRP to ERP. First of all, let me give you my outline. So the first thing in my presentation is the content summary. I will briefly tell you what happened in the story, and then is all of my answers for the case questions, and later on is the suggestions for Vietnamese companies or the lessons that I have learned from the case. Okay, so first let's start with the content summary. So this case study describes the story of Welding Industry Malaysia (WIM). It is the only local Malaysian company that manufactures welding machines for commercial use and gains tremendous success even in the time of crisis. So, in the crisis time, many business went bankruptcy and did not survive, but WIM, they even gained a lot of profits and become the top of business in Malaysia. So the secret lies behind the success is that they have adopted a new information system. It is ERP. So the story described the difference between MRP and ERP and how adopting ERP instead of MRP has brought success to WIM. The case study also demonstrated the problems that the companies had to face when they used MRP, and then the need to change and reasons why the companies chose to adopt ERP system from Epico software company. And finally is the effectiveness of ERP over MRP and the story of success. So as you can see, there are a lot of string words in this case, like MRP, ERP. Um, so let me explain a little bit about these kinds of information systems so that you can have an overview about what's going on in this case. Okay, so MRP stands for Material Requirement Planning. It was developed in 1970 as a mechanism for manufacturing companies to calculate more precisely which materials they required, at what time, and in optimum quantities. So in the beginning, MRP proved to be very efficient and it helped the companies to manage the process easily and become stronger than their competitors. But then as time passed, the company they were in need of a better system to make planning, uh, controlling the business process, and other calculation. So MRP was not efficient enough. So MRP2 was evolved from MRP. But then, as the business operation expanded, the MRP2 also became outdated and did not have any more. So now the company they need a new system, which is ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. ERP encompasses materials planning, efficient production, profitability, customer satisfaction. So basically, it covers almost every aspect of the business. So it proved to be a very efficient and smart techniques to control and manage the business processes. Okay, so now come back to our case study with the first questions. So why did WIM feel the need to implement an ERP system? So they feel that because they base on careful assessment of the company situations. So after adopting MRP for a while, they realized that in the beginning, MRP system was better than paper-based management techniques. However, the MRP system created a lot of problems, like it couldn't manage huge data, there was no platform to integrate data, the information was not being shared and often lost, so that the manager had difficulty in control all the information across different function areas. And there was no predefined standards for data communications. So the information flow was very difficult. And these weaknesses led to so many threats like overall productivity was failing, employees were disengaged, and customers did not return. So the top manager, they saw that there were so many threats that overthrown the opportunities. In fact, they felt that MRP did not bring any opportunity at all. It created many problems as the operations expanded. So in order to survive and in order not to go to bankruptcy, they had to change and they had to adapt new system. And in adapting ERP system, there was a list of objectives that the managers had created. So the first one is to increase in the visibility and sharing of our reports on manufacturing. Second is to improve coordination across functional departments to increase efficiency. The third one is to better management of procurement and inventory processes. The company also wants to have the facilitation of day-to-day management, the 24/7 availability of financial information of the entire firm, and also create a standardization of data formats across the company with greater accuracy, remote access, and improved security. Okay, so this goal was set out to overcome vulnerabilities in information systems to make sure that information was communicated clearly and smoothly throughout the entire company so that the managers were easier to manage and control the business processes, which could lead to an increase in productivity and greater ownership. Okay. So after being adopted, ERP show that it is very efficient and is very necessary for the company. So ERP enables the accurate access to all information on material, machinery, and labor. It also integrates different departments of WIM. So now the top manager they can control and manage all the busy function easier. Also, the ERP can track and control all procurement activities, schedules production processes, and manage costs. So it helps WIM control its inventory better than ever. And finally, this system generates information that helps forecast business opportunities accurately. So by adapting ERP, the information system will controlled and managed in an efficient way to help the company reduce cost, gain profitability, and also reduce risky investment. But the question is that how how did the company can change from a local ERP system to an entirely new one? Did they have any difficulty in that transition? How did they manage this difficulty? So the answer is that the company they created a method and including 4 steps to follow. So the first step is that they carefully assess the current situation to see that whether they have to change, whether they have to adapt a new one or not. And after seeing that if they did not adapt a new one, then they would die. They cannot survive. The company decided to hire the service of trusted company. In this case, is the Epico Software Corporation, one of the leading software company in Malaysia. And the third step is to put together a functional team comprising project management, IT system managing, and executive management. This step is the most important step because it divides to 3 separate teams with clear job description. So for example, the project management team can define the scope of ERP system. They can assess available resources at WIM and then calculate and budget the costs of implementation. The executive team have to ensure the new system achieved and aligned with the business goals, and the IT team, their jobs is to provide technical expertise and support. And after divided into different teams to work together, they designed a communication plan to keep track of the progress. So by strictly following 4 steps, the company can manage the change from a local MRP system to an ERP system without having any difficulties in the time of transition. So that's all about the case. And after reading and researching in this case, I have learned some lessons and some suggestions that I think can be helpful somehow for Vietnamese companies. So the first one is that the companies they should understand the difference between MRP and ERP. Which one is better for their own companies? And then they should create regular assessments to evaluate the business performance to see that if the business is in difficult time or not, and whether they need to adapt new change or to just keep the normal process. And in the case of they have to change to survive, I think that it could be better if they adapt new changes and then evaluate the performance regularly to see that the changes is suitable or not. So these are some of my suggestions for Vietnamese company. So after watching this video, you guys can have some knowledge about MRP and ERP, how ERP helped the companies to manage and control its information system. And thank you so much for paying attention and have a nice day.